Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? There is a few things that we're going to be talking about, okay, but there's just one thing that I have to say. A email came in from a community member, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." It was one of those. She said, "Just a quick note to tell you regarding any naysayers. They are being ridiculous. Please keep up doing your videos as you see best. It seems there are people out there who want to dictate what content creators say, and someone can always change the channel. I meant to email you sooner, but I've been down for the count, struggling to get back up, knowing God holds tomorrow in spite of appearances. You, Autumn, are loved and appreciated by many, including me. I love you. I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you." So when she sent me that email, was literally just, you know, I get comments all the time, and sometimes I have to ignore them. But 99% of the comments that I get on my videos, I'm like, thank you so much, because I do work very hard at what I do. But sometimes I get comments and I'm like, really? Come on. One time I got a comment, "I can't listen to your videos because there's a lullaby playing in the background." Okay, well, would you like to come to my house and tell my 1.5-year-old and my 4-week-old granddaughters that they can't have their soothing music playing while they're sleeping at night? Would you like to come do that? Because I'm sure my 1.5-year-old will understand. Okay? I can't listen to your video because your dog is barking in the background. Yes, I have 3 very large dogs, and they are here to protect my family and my home. And if they see something, they're going to bark to let us know. Okay? Um, there you have to understand. I have what's called mom brain, or now it's called Nona brain. Okay, grandmom. That's Italian. Nona is Italian for grandmom. And I have like scrambled eggs for brains. Okay, and that's because during the day and sometimes at night, because my husband and I will take our grandchildren for the night. So our kids, my son and his wife, can have, date night or whatever the case may be. And, 9 times out of 10, when you have a toddler, okay, because Evie Rose is a 1.5 years old, we put on stimulating videos for her. Because she's in a learning process right now. Okay, she's learning her ABCs, her 1, 2, 3s, her colors, her shapes, things like that. Okay, and somebody said something to me yesterday. "I liked your videos a lot better when you weren't reading." Okay. Yes, I do write things down. Okay, because otherwise the only thing that you're going to hear come out of my mouth is the wheels on the bus are going round and around, because that's what I have stuck in my head. Okay, or apples and bananas. Okay, because that's what's stuck in my head, because that's what plays out in the living room for 8 to 10 hours a day. Okay, because that apples and bananas then turns to apples and banoo-noos. Okay. Or if you've ever watched Miss Rachel, if you don't know who Miss Rachel is, go look her up on YouTube, kids. Okay? Yeah. Because when she sings the ABC, she also puts in a quack every once in a while. Okay? So, yes, I do keep a summary of notes of the things that I want to talk about. Okay? So, I have 4 grandchildren. Okay? They're 11, 10, 1.5, and 5 weeks old. So for someone to try and come at me constantly because either we have a lullaby playing in the background, or I have to read from a script, which I'm not. I'm actually reading from my summary of notes, so I'm not singing, the wheels on the bus go round and round at you. Please excuse me for having scrambled eggs for brains, because I constantly have nursery rhymes playing in the background. And that's what I actually constantly have going on replay in my head. Okay? Not current events. So please excuse me. Okay? I hate to be sounding rude, but I don't get to have the luxury of having a studio like other content creators. Okay? My studio is my home. And you guys know that. I've only been doing this for about 5 years, so I don't have luxuries like that. So if you hear a lullaby playing in the background, know that my grandchildren are sleeping. If you hear dogs barking in the background, that's because either Gemma or Ridley or Penelope, they see something out in the backyard, which is probably like a raccoon or a rabbit or something, and they want to get outside and get to it. Or they hear the dog next door barking. So, there's a lot of things that go on inside my house because we are a large family. And that's not something that I even want to control. Okay? I'm not going to tell my grandchildren to quiet down or go to bed just because I'm filming a video for you. Okay? So the next thing that we're going to talk about is another email that came in from a community member. And she said, I want to stock up, but my family is not backing me and not helping me. So how do I do it? Well, there are many ways to go about that. Have you thought about just going to different food pantries? Okay. And the things that you get at the food pantries, put that stuff aside. Okay. And then your groceries that you do buy or whatever the case may be, use those for your family to enjoy. Or what you could do is if you bulk shop, because generally when you bulk shop, there's 8, 10, or 12, right, in a bulk box. Put half of it aside, or maybe even just a quarter of it aside. She said, I have some good news. Oh, that's right. She said she has very good news to share, that she's no longer in stage 4 of her lung cancer. I have been praying very, very hard for this woman. She was diagnosed stage 4 lung cancer. She's now in the curable lung cancer phase, and I will continue to pray for you, sweetheart. She said that she wants for everybody to please pray for her. I am so happy for you. You are so blessed, and I will continue to pray for you and continue to pray that you are blessed by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I love you. So this community member, she reached out and she said, I belong to this group on Reddit and it's called Cemetery Prawn. Just going to use that word, okay? She said, it's nothing dirty. She said, it's just a bunch of us sharing gravestones that touch us. She said, I checked the comments as someone is always posting obituaries in the comments. She said, some are funny, some are sad. She said, but all show us a glimpse of the past. She said, anyway, I thought you might like this one. Enjoy. And when I saw this, I laughed so damn hard because it's obvious that whoever this guy was in his life must have been a jokester. You see that? It says, because it's the outside script that you got to read. It says, the only man in Britain or British legal history, to be convicted of biting a policeman with someone else's teeth. Imagine going down in history as being known as that. I'm sorry. It's like, So Florida has now enacted House Bill 477. It's to prohibit weather modification and geoengineering activities across the state, including restrictions on aircraft releasing substances to affect weather, climate, or sunlight. This is for public airports. They must report equipped aircraft monthly, and violations are punishable as a third-degree felony with prison time and also fines. But not for nothing. Uh, what I am finding very quite funny, and I have lived here in Florida since 1993. So you can imagine I've been through many, many hurricane seasons. All right. And I've lived through very many hurricanes that have we've had to prepare for. We've lived without electricity for weeks at a time. Okay. Um, this is the very first hurricane season that we have not said, okay, time to batten down the hatches, guys. Okay. Um, and this is the very first hurricane season that we've had hurricanes coming straight at us. And then all of a sudden they go, oh yeah, nope. And they've gone the other way at the very last second. Talk about, oh, no more weather modification. Really, DeSantis? Who's doing the weather modification now? I think you're the one that's doing the weather modification to try and drop our homeowners insurance rates. I think that's I think that's what's going on. But that's just my unprofessional opinion, so I'll go on. So here is an email from a community member who happens to be a very great friend of mine. And she said, I hope you and your family are doing well. We're actually doing really awesome. Thank you. With the government shutdown and everything, Sean and I we're just doing it. You know what I mean? We're all right. We are. She said, just wanted to check in on you and let you know I love you and I haven't forgotten about you. I love you too, Joni. I really do. God, I miss you, girl. She said, I've been busy with the outdoor music studio, making my skincare products and learning how to grow sprouts and microgreens and canning all my tomatoes that I froze from the garden this year. I canned 21 pints of delicious, nutritious tomato soup. Do you do your tomato soup? Do you do like a tomato bisque? Because I'm not so much of a tomato soup eater, but tomato bisque, girl, yes. You know what I'm saying? She said, all veggies from my garden. So at 70 years old, you're 70? No. Girl, you don't look older than me, and I'm 49. What? She said, I don't have a whole lot of time to do much else. She said, just a little something different to get away from all the political yeah, no kidding. I hate politics. I really do. But it's like, if you don't talk about it, then you don't know what your next step in life is going to be. You know what I mean? She said, I hope you have a blessed and fantastic week ahead. Much love to you and yours. Love you to the moon and back. I love you too. Yeah, I have to can some tomatoes myself. I'm running low because I use my tomatoes when I make my sauce. Yeah. So, Speaker Johnson, okay, talking about politics, has just exposed some of what Democrats are doing or demanding. Let me just say that. They're demanding, because they are demanding little shites, aren't they, in order to reopen the government. This is not like rumor or anything like that. It's coming from Johnson himself, laying out what the left is quietly pushing behind the scenes, I guess you could say, while millions of us are struggling to pay our bills. Liberal leaders are fighting to include global pet projects and ideological spending in their budget demands. So here is what part of what Speaker Johnson, his statement is word for word. Liberal news outlets By refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, it would also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counter proposal on a CR to keep the lights on or open. Let me say that. This is what they want to do. They want $24.6 million of our hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQ plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of our dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa. Locust. And $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We're not doing that, he said. $24 million for climate projects in Honduras. $4 million for LGBTQ plus democracy grants in the Balkans. $2 million for feminist democratic principles in Africa. You know, this, not for nothing, but it seems like these little things, these little projects, okay, they send $2 million here, $2 million here, $2 million here. And you know what it seems like to me? It'll get funneled right back into these Democrats' pockets. I don't know. And this is all while America faces record debt, wide open border, families crushed by inflation. This is what the Democrats are fighting for in continuing resolution process. Not lowering the cost of our groceries, securing the southern border, not supporting American workers or even veterans. Instead, they want to tie the reopening of our government to millions in taxpayer funds that will be shipped overseas for social experiments and political activism. It's not just wasteful spending. It's insulting. Every dollar taken from hardworking Americans to fund foreign ideological programs is a dollar stolen from real priorities here at home. It is a dollar not spent on border agents, school safety, veterans, disaster relief. It is a dollar that will never rebuild a bridge, fill a pothole, help a single family that is struggling in this country. This is why Speaker Johnson is he has the right to draw a line. And the American people deserve a government that puts them first. And we're last in line, as far as I'm concerned. Okay? If Democrats want to keep the lights on, they should stop trying to sneak global pet projects into a funding bill. But like I said, I have a feeling that if you've noticed, it's just $2 million here, $2 million there, $3 million here, $3 million. And I think it's funneling. So it'll look good on paper, but it'll be funneled back into their pockets. But that's just my opinion. But I mean, no taxpayer should have to pay for any of this feminist organizing in Africa. It's shit. You know, Americans' budget should serve us, the American people, period. Okay? The speaker is standing up for common sense, fiscal responsibility, and national sovereignty. It's long past time that Washington stopped using our tax dollars to promote ideology abroad and started focusing on rebuilding our own country. That's it. Point blank, period. Okay? Why did these Democrats give so much care and give a shit about other countries? Countries that don't care about us. That's what I want to know. Do you think their governments fund America? Nope. So why are we funding them? So this came in from a community member. Okay. She said, I live in Kentucky and Governor Beshear, I hope I said that right, is a failure. And the Democrats keep voting his dumbass in. He wants to run for president in 2028 and I won't be voting for him. Oh, dear God. She said, he's not the voice of the people. I would be proud to have as a president from Kentucky, but never him. He's more worried about hearing his own voice and the attention. Is he like another Pritzker? He doesn't care about our senior community. Instead of fixing serious problems before traveling abroad, he ignores the issue. Please don't vote for this scum. I have family that lives in Kentucky too, in Bowling Green. So this, it says last week, Beshear administration admitted they still don't have a plan to address its senior meal budget blunder. It's been more than a month since this crisis was made known. Meanwhile, Kentucky seniors continue to go hungry because of the governor's lack of leadership. It's telling of his priorities that senior meals remain on hold, but his European travels are moving full speed ahead. So that's some bullshit right there. Okay? Feed the seniors. Feed our veterans. Feed our children. And who gives a shit about you going to Europe? Nobody cares. You stay home. You stay home until the problems are fixed. That's what any leader would do. Okay? So, State Senator Greg Elkins submitted a formal letter, and I've got the letter, I'll read it to you in a sec, calling on Governor Beshear to take action and ensure no senior in Kentucky goes without a meal. Unfortunately, we don't expect a response while he's abroad. So this is what it says. Dear Governor Beshear, I'm writing to demand immediate action to resolve this ongoing crisis in senior meal services across Kentucky. It has now been more than a month, and your administration still has no plan to fix the problem. This failure of leadership is unacceptable. Thousands of seniors across the Commonwealth rely on these meals each day. They should not be left wondering where their next meal will come from. Instead of spending taxpayer dollars traveling overseas, you should have remained here in Kentucky and focused on fixing this problem. The seniors who are going hungry don't need promises from London. They need leadership at home. Yeah, I agree 100%. What the fuck? The legislature has provided you with the authority to move a percentage of your budget to cover funding that is needed. You can take immediate action to restore these critical services without waiting for new appropriations. Governor, it's time to act. Do your job. Direct your administration to find the necessary funding. Restore meal services immediately. If you will not act, then call the General Assembly back into special session and let us fix the issue ourselves. Kentuckians expect leadership, not excuses. Every day you delay, seniors go hungry. This is a problem that can and must be solved now. Respectfully, sincerely, Greg Elkins. Very well put together letter, very respectful, very professional. And not for nothing, with the amount of money that these politicians make, okay, I'm sure this governor makes enough money. He could probably feed all of the seniors in Kentucky with his own paycheck. Okay, so I don't want to hear that this guy is in London right now, living it up with the other friggin' elites. Okay, he needs to get his ass home and do his friggin' job. How would he like it if it was his own parents? Okay, so enough of the damn excuses. Get your ass home and sign the damn bill, and let's get going. Sick of this shit. Always leaving our elders and our veterans and our children behind while you go off and play golf with whoever you're doing it with. All right, listen, I've got 2 videos that were sent in by community members, all right? I will see you guys in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less, and God bless. Ciao.
Around the same time that John D. Rockefeller seized U.S. media, he also hijacked U.S. medicine. When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information.
Only President Trump can pull off getting 36 world leaders to jump on their private jets to join him in Sharm el-Sheikh in a very short period of time. And they were all there to celebrate the Middle East Peace Summit, which, rightly so, should be celebrated. And it was a big FU to the UN, because Trump is showing off that, well, we don't need bodies like the UN or any other kind of global governing bodies, because they don't do anything anyway. Trump made a few phone calls, got it done, and then invited all of his world leader friends to join him in Egypt. It was quite the club. What was also interesting was that Keir Starmer was sat in the back, and it's a definite no for Tony Blair to be part of the redevelopment effort. So there's really no role for the Brits in the future development of Gaza, which the British press are going crazy over this morning. But know that everybody was there to get a piece of the pie. The new Gaza is going to be like Dubai. It's going to be the Middle East Riviera, as Trump always has said it could be. And now he's going to make it a reality.